The Dewdrop Inn reigned king of the black music scene back in the days of Jim Crow and the Great Depression. The methodic sound of rhythm and blues permeated the walls, creating a cultural fabric so rich it seemed the music would never die. But when the Dewdrop Inn closed nearly 50 years ago, the owner's grandson never gave up hope that the doors would open up again. Years later, that hope is now a reality. Take a look at the newly renovated Dewdrop Inn. During the Great Depression, the music industry suffered. Record sales dropped 90% between 1927 and 1931. Notable record industry labels were butchered and sold off to stay afloat. But there was one shining beacon of hope in the midst of this national turmoil: jazz music. The heart of the jazz craze pulsed through the city of New Orleans. It was everywhere, but no other music venue compared to this place, the Dewdrop Inn. Nicknamed the Groove Room, it was a barbershop, a restaurant, a hotel, and an iconic nightclub all in one until the doors closed 50 years ago. But what if the music started again? What if the bands came back? That's a question Curtis Doucette dared to ask.
I'm not one of those people who can go back and tell you about, my parents and my grandparents told me about this place. I had no idea about the Dewdrop Inn.
Doucette is a developer who had no interest in the Dewdrop Inn until a chance meeting with the owner's grandson, Kenneth Jackson.
I think he was kind of at the end of his rope, and I think he had gotten close to getting financed, and last minute it didn't work out for him, and in a last-ditch effort, he reached out to me.
But after that meeting, Doucette kept seeing signs of the Dewdrop everywhere. Friends mentioned it, business partners referenced it. It was like a force pulling him in until he couldn't ignore it anymore. He would reopen the doors to this legendary establishment. The result was a 17-room hotel, complete with the bar and restaurant still intact.
This is the hotel, the main hotel area. We're gonna go to one of the available rooms right now, Huey Piano Smith.
These are all of his pictures in the background.
Yeah, so some of the pictures are him. This one picture is Cosimo Matassa, who did a lot of the recordings in the city at that time. But there's also a narrative that talks about a portal moment for each of the artists. The time that they spent at the Dewdrop Inn, what was their contribution to the Dewdrop Inn? How did it change them? And what did they go on to do for the rest of their lives? We capture that here.
And if you leave this room and go up the hallway, you'll find one of the most important rooms in the building, Frank Panier's Groove Room, a tribute to the club's founder.
It's truly the best room in the house. So not only is it a full-size suite, similar like having a living room here, but you also have these wonderful doors that lead to the stage. So one could hang out in this room with a group of friends.
Wow, and you can open these
and
doors
get a great view to the stage and the performance.
But the last and possibly the most symbolic place in the building is the barbershop. When the Dewdrop Inn first opened, it was a small shop nestled in between two buildings that grew into something no one could have imagined.
This room is where we tell all of our history from 1939, really prior to 1939 when Frank came into the neighborhood, but definitely 1939 when the business started. We talk about all of the great things that happened here, from all of the people who performed, the civil rights history, the LGBTQ history.
So is there anybody that's significant that's on this wall?
There's so many significant people on this wall. I think the most significant person in my mind in this room is Frank Panier himself.
Show us his picture, let's see.
Here is Mr. Jackson, Frank Panier's grandson, who was really a great steward of this building. And he held it together, and I think he held it together physically as best he could, and spiritually he kept it in the minds of people and in the hearts of people until the right time.
But to Kenneth Jackson, the original owner's grandson, this is more than just a renovation. It's a second chance, a revival of his grandfather's legacy. How do you feel walking in here and looking at all of these changes?
It's like a dream come true.
Dream come true.
That's all I can say. I always knew that it was possible, but to see it actually happen, it's basically a dream come true. There's not a better way I can put it. All of the fixing up and repairs and everything's in good working order.
Does it feel the same?
It definitely feels the same.
Feels the same, okay.
Yeah, it looks very close to it. I would say not exactly, but it's got that same atmosphere, that same feel You know, you've actually got to be in here when something's going on.
The Dewdrop Inn is back open, and the community is rallying behind the effort. But Jackson hopes this is the first and last reopening, one no one will forget.
I just want it to be a success in all aspects, be just financially sound and structurally sound and ongoing. It's my hope for it.
If you want to know more about the history of the Dewdrop Inn, LPB produced an Emmy Award-winning digital-first series called Safe Haven, Louisiana's Green Book, where we explored 10 locations in the book, including the Dewdrop Inn. You can find those episodes on lpb.org.